Today we're going to talk about different types of loyalties, and the reason we're doing that is because we want to be able to distinguish between national and non-national loyalties. So, loyalty could be commitment to your nation, it could be commitment to a shared idea, it could be bonds to individuals, it could be bonds to groups outside of a nation. When we talk about commitment to a nation, we are talking about a nationalist loyalty. That could be political, it could be cultural, it could be civic nation. But commitment to that unified group of people, that entire group, is nationalist loyalty. It's important to recognize that individuals may hold loyalty to different nations. That can come from family history, that can come from immigration, that can come through marriage and family bonds. It is possible to have nationalist loyalties to multiple nations. But of course, as soon as you have loyalty to multiple things, they can come in conflict. You can also have loyalties to non-nationalist ideas, things like ideologies, religions, a particular way of life to different social groups. And those loyalties could exist within a nation, or they can spread beyond nations. They could be shared by individuals of different nations. A big example of that is class loyalty, sympathy and solidarity with people who live similar lifestyles and live under similar economic conditions has historically been an extremely powerful force. You can express those loyalties then in many different ways. You could attend cultural events. You could check up on news about your nation. And we are focusing on nations here because that's what this year is about, nationalism. But you can do these for other non-national loyalties too. Upholding values that are important to your nation is another way of expressing a nationalist loyalty. So the loyalty then we're talking about is a firm belief or show of support for an idea, a person, a group, or a nation. This is commitment to one of those things, be it your nation, to a shared ideal, to bonds or groups within or outside your nation. Nationalist loyalty is specific commitment to the nation that you belong to. Non-national loyalty is everything else. It could be commitment to an ideology, which would specifically be ideological loyalty. It could be social, class loyalty. It could be religious loyalty. The important thing to note, though, that all these non-nationalist loyalties have in common is that they can go beyond the borders of a nation and can be shared by members of different nations. That leads us then to contending loyalties. Things are contending when they are competing or conflicting with each other. And this is where things get interesting, because here is where people have to choose. Of course, I'm not going to come along and tell you, oh, there's a right choice here and a wrong choice here. But this is where history, for me as a historian, this is where history is interesting. What are people's loyalties? When push comes to shove, which loyalty are they going to stand by? And which one are they going to let fall by the wayside? So that is a challenge for both nations and individuals conflicting loyalties, contending loyalties within a nation or within a person. Some people enjoy having many different loyalties to many different things. Other people feel that divides them and that they have an expectation they'll have to choose one loyalty to another. If you want an example from history, the story of not Julius Caesar, but of Marcus Brutus. And Shakespeare made Brutus famous with the phrase in his play, Et tu, Brute, you too, Brutus. Because Julius Caesar felt like Brutus and Caesar were related to each other. Caesar actually treated Brutus like a son that he had never had. The other son he had never had been, of course, Octavian. And Brutus was part of the conspiracy that killed Caesar, that assassinated him on the floor of the Roman Senate. So right there, you have an excellent example of loyalty to nation and to family history, or loyalty to immediate family. There's a lot more than what I just described there, but that is an interesting moment to think about in the eyes of a historian. Empathize with the position you're placed in. A man who treats you as a son has effectively become dictator, a totalitarian ruler over Rome, according to one group of people. Do you side with him, or do you side with the people who say they represent the nation, who want to murder him? And of course I say, who say they represent the nation, because there was an entire class conflict around that too, but we don't have time to get into that one. Just think about, what would you do if you were put in Brutus's shoes?